What would happen if every school leader, every school community measured their choices about what the school of the future looks by its impact on the well-being of the community? So if we took that as the core of the decision process, it would become a lot easier to work out what got chucked out and what got changed.
Last year, if you had said to me, what are the schools of tomorrow? I would have thought of, the Jetsons, or I would have thought of the Matrix, where you could download skills to be a Kung Fu master and astrophysicist in about 35 seconds. But COVID-19 has really changed the landscape this year. And I think the pandemic has absolutely forced probably the biggest rethink of education in history around the world. It's triggered almost overnight, I would say probably one of the biggest ed tech implementations ever. And it's raised some pretty huge practical and logistical issues for students, teachers, parents. Certainly those of you here who are parents know that viscerally. But I also think it's opened up a world of opportunities for us to reimagine what school, teaching, learning can be in the 21st century.
Nothing is the silver bullet. Nothing is our savior here. There's got to be an overlap between the combinations of all these things that when, I think of the school of the future, this is going to sound strange, but I think there should be something very ancient about it. I really hope that people rediscover the power of something as ancient as Socratic questioning. I don't know that we've ever bested those ancient Greeks when they worked out. It's a phenomenal way to really question the assumptions that you make about everything and get yourself to a point of existential crisis, perhaps, but then to come from that to really, really deeply learn something. So I really hope that we bring together the future and the past in terms of where we're headed from this moment in COVID, whatever the new business as usual will become. I hope we don't lose or don't forget the things that centuries have taught us about human nature and what good, effective teaching and learning looks like.
I feel like the school of tomorrow, they're intimate learning communities that do have different kind of timetables, that are a little bit maybe like a departure lounge. And Stephen, I know you and I have talked about that for years and years. We're really seeing asynchronous learning come to the forefront. They're intimate learning communities. They have an anchor in space and place where people do come together like base camp and also manage their time in clever and creative ways. That's what comes to my mind as a school of the future at this moment in time.
I'd always go back to the outcomes that we want to achieve. What's our whole purpose here? And fundamentally, it's to prepare kids for the world that they're being thrust into. And I think first and foremost, that has changed so much to the world that we entered when we left school. The rate of change at this stage is simply unprecedented. And so that preparation for that world so that they're able to compete in the global world, to get jobs, to be happy, the mindfulness that comes in, and so on. So that hasn't changed, except for the need has got greater.
So for me, the school of the future is completely different because we're not going to teach kids communication skill, collaboration, critical thinking, coping with change, complexity, unless we completely change the model of schooling and we place the learning communities into a community. So that for me, at the heart of what we have to do in the future is relationship. And we're not going to do that seriously unless we start getting rid of the word school, we get rid of the word education, we get rid of all of the words that have held us back, because the school of the future, if I use the word school there again, is about a learning community which is completely embedded and grown in a village.